it's already 3:30, and today is a day where we have many events going on in our temple and outside also. So keeping everything in mind, today's program would be comparatively way shorter. Ideally starting the 10th canto it should be longer, but interestingly it's going to be comparatively way shorter. I am targeting to wrap up by 4:45, so that 4:45 according to IST.
IST plus 30 minutes. 45 AM. AM.
Then Venugit will start. So 4:45 is the plan, so that at least by 5, if we can push off, then 5:30 is another class by Marinder Prabhu, so that those who want to attend can attend that. Of course, there are two ways how we approach today's class. All this while we were skimming the surface, or you could say we went in depth to some areas, and till now we have completed the first 9 cantos of our discussion. The Moon dynasty of the 9th canto is still remaining, but that's a very small section which we will take it later, as we are already lagging behind in our discussion. I thought to start directly with the most important personality from the Chandra Vamsha, that is Shri Krishna, the most important personality. So keeping that in mind, we will directly start with the 10th canto, having finished the 9 cantos. Let us not forget the fact that we are not directly prematurely jumping to the 10th canto, but we have gone systematically through every canto, and we have waited 2 months. After 2 months, finally by Krishna's grace, Krishna's mercy, we have come where we are endeavoring to speak or hear something from the 10th canto. I just want to put this out in the public that I am no way qualified to discuss this canto. I am no way qualified to discuss any of the canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. I don't know how I fit in this assembly. All of you all have been practicing and preaching the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu much more than I have stayed in this body. But still, I just beg and pray that if you all kindly agree, I can speak some words. If I make any mistakes, I'm still a 26-year-old, I'm bound to make mistakes in my presentation. But if there are any mistakes, kindly as Saragrahi Vaishnavas, please keep that to the side. Please keep it here itself. And if there is anything good or inspirational that comes up, that brings about an appreciation towards Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the complete whole and soul credit goes to Srila Prabhupada, all our predecessor Acharyas, and of course our Gurujan. So with this, I would just humbly want to attempt. It's almost like an ant wanting to crawl its way up to the mountain. It's very impossible, very difficult. But that's what the attempt is all about. So, as I again said, if there is anything mistake or anything wrong that comes up, kindly as Saragrahi Vaishnavas, please forgive me. Following the pattern that we have had, before starting today's class, we would do a small recap of what we will do a small recap of whatever we have done in our previous classes. We started off with the first canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We started off with the first canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. By the way, which scripture are we discussing?
Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam.
Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We started off with the first canto. In the first canto, we broke that into four parts. What was the first? Introduction. What was the introduction about?
Sambandha,
Abhideya and Prayojan. What were the verses?
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. First 3 verses, Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan. That was the introduction. What was the second part of the first canto?
6 questions.
6 questions by sages of Highland. Sages of Naimasharanya, correct. 6 questions. Of course, I will not get into what the 6 questions are. But we will see that after 12 cantos are done, जब टेस्ट का समय आएगा,
ठीक है, हो गया प्रभु।
ओ वापस आएगा ना 12 घंटे में पूरा 12 घंटे आने वाला है। So 6 questions by the sages of Naimasharanya. What was the third section of the first canto? History of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And in the history of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we spoke about how Narad Muni inspires Vyasadeva. And who compiled the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Vyasadeva, correct. Vyasadeva compiled the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We also spoke about the history of Narad Muni, how he served the Bhakti Vedantas, and by their mercy, he's where he is. So that was the third section. And what was the fourth section that wrapped up the first canto?
History of Parikshit.
History of Parikshit Maharaj. How Parikshit Maharaj appeared in this world, how Shringi cursed him, how he meets Shukadev Goswami. So that was the first canto. From there, we proceeded to the second canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, where Shukadev Goswami is meeting Parikshit Maharaj on the banks of Ganga. And Shukadev Goswami, who is the speaker of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, what is the question that Parikshit Maharaj is asking Shukadev Goswami?
What is the duty of a person when he is?
Little louder, please.
What is the duty of a person when he is about to depart?
Correct. What is the duty of the person who is departing this world? Because valid question. Parikshit Maharaj has only 7 days, so he will not speak about what's the rate of a mobile phone or what's the rate of an iPhone. He will not ask these questions. His fundamental question is: I have 7 days. What is that thing that I can do in 7 days so that I can get Krishna? Cut to the chase, not beating around the bush. And how does Shukadev Goswami start answering that conversation? It's a nested conversation. How does Shukadev Goswami start that conversation? He speaks about 2 personalities.
Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu.
Vishnu, conversation between Vishnu and Brahmaji. And how many questions does Brahma have? 4 questions. What was the first question?
How to get in university?
What is
Oh, the last one.
Forms.
Material spiritual form.
different activities?
Different energies.
3. And
How to
how to attain mercy. Correct. 4 questions. And the Supreme Lord answers that by speaking
Chatusloki.
Chatushloki of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. 4 questions of Brahma get answered by 4 verses of Vishnu, that is Chatushloki. What is the reference to Chatushloki? 1933, right?
2933
19, bro.
No.
29, 33, 34, 35 and 36. That was the end of the second canto. In the third canto is split into 4 sections, correct. What was the first section?
Conversation between Vidura and
Vidura and Uddhava Samvad. Vidura is on a pilgrimage Tirth Yatra, where he first meets Uddhava. That was the first. What was the second? Someone from the Prabhujis.
Population.
Population explosion, correct. We spoke about population explosion. We spoke about how Swayambhuva Manu appeared and etc. What was the third section of that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Someone from the Matajis. Appearance of Varahadev. We spoke as to how 4 Kumaras went to Vaikuntha, the curse of Jai Vijay, and how Varahadev appears there. And what is the last section that wraps up?
Dynasty of
Dynasty of Swayambhuva Manu. And Swayambhuva Manu has 1 daughter and 4 kids. 4 sons, right?
3 daughters and 2 sons.
2 sons.
2 sons.
And 4 daughters.
3 daughters.
5 daughters.
3 daughters.
3 daughters and
2 sons.
3 and 2.
3 and 2.
Itna bol ke I am only getting confused. 3 daughters and 2 sons. Who are the 2 sons? Priyavrata and Uttanapad is the oldest son.
No.
Priyavrata is the oldest son, correct. Priyavrata is the oldest son. So that ended the third canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. From there we proceeded to the fourth canto of the Bhāgavatam. Fourth canto split into
3 parts.
3 sections. Yes. Radhika Leela Mataji. First section.
Bhakti in the mode of Tāmasa.
Bhakti in the mode of Tāmasa. And what was the example? Daksh Prajapati and Brahmaji.
Shiva.
Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva. What was the second section?
Bhakti in Raja.
Bhakti in the mode of Rajas. And what is the example?
Dhruva Maharaj.
Dhruva Maharaj. And finally, Bhakti in the mode of Sattvic. What is the pastime? Bhakti in the mode of Sattva. Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj and Arji. Bhakti in the mode of pure goodness or Sattva. That was the fourth canto. From there, we proceeded to the fifth canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, where only 1 son of Swayambhuva Manu was still left. Who was that son? Maharaj Priyavrat. So we started with Priyavrat. In the dynasty of Maharaj Priyavrat is Maharaj Nabhi. And what was Earth planet called when Maharaj Nabhi was ruling? Ajanaba Varsha. Who can say what does Ajanaba Varsha mean?
No birth.
Yes.
And Nabha means sons of Nabha.
Maharaj Nabhi, correct. Ja in Sanskrit stands for Janma. Like we say Janmashtami. So word Ja, Janaja means Janma, birth. Aja, someone who has no birth. And Nabha is Maharaj Nabhi. So when Rishabdev Maharaj was ruling, He is called as Aja because he's the Supreme Lord. He has no birth. So Aja Nabha Varsha. But who is the son of Maharaj Rishabdev? Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj started ruling and this earth planet was called as Bharat Varsha after Bharat Maharaj. So we discussed that line. And in Bharat Maharaj, we saw 3 lifetimes of Bharat Maharaj. The first lifetime he was Bharat Maharaj. Second lifetime he was the deer. And third lifetime he was Jada Bharat. Whom does Jada Bharat meet? Maharaj Rahugan. Yes, he meets Maharaj Rahugan. And then the historic conversation that takes place between Maharaj Hare Krishna. The historic conversation that takes place between Jada Bharat and Maharaj Rahugan. That was the first canto. Probably you can sit here so those who want to come. And the floor is also cold. So that was the first half of the 5th canto. And the second half, it was planetary positions or cosmic manifestation. From there, we did the 6th canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. What is the theme of the 6th canto? Poshana. Poshana means destruction. Protection, correct. Poshana means protection. And what are the pastimes in the 6th canto? It starts with pastime of Ajamil. Then pastime of Vritrasur. But who was Vritrasur in his previous lifetime? Maharaj Chitraketu, correct. And what is the last section of the 6th canto? कोई एक सब लोग दीति बोल रहे आगे दीति के आगे correct. But what does Indra do? Correct. So one child expands into 7. 7 becomes
49.
And 49 are called as Manus. Correct. Manus. So that ended the 6th canto. Then we started the 7th canto. What is the theme of the 7th canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Uti. Uti means inclination. Shubh, Ashubh, Ichha. Who denotes Shubh, Ichha in the 7th canto? Prahlad Maharaj, correct. Only few are answering. Prabhuji, क्या हुआ? उसके लिए discussion चालू है. So Shubh Ichha is denoted by Prahlad Maharaj. Ashubh Ichha is denoted by Hiranyakashipu, correct. And the whole 7th canto is split into 2 sections. The first 10 chapters, pastime of Prahlad Narsingha. The last 5 chapters, Varnashram Dharma. From there we went to the 8th canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. What is the theme of the 8th canto? Manmantar, correct. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Now we have entrance into the 10th canto. When Manjari herself is working, now we actually have entrance to the 10th canto. Thank you, Manjari. Because without Manjari, there is no question of entering 10th canto. Not getting into the details, but jisko samjha. So anyway, so 10th canto, the theme is, 8th canto, the theme is Manmantar. Who are the Manus? Who are the Manus?
71.
Who are the Manus? Manus is a personality. Who is the Manu? Manus are basically administrators, those who take care. And which Manu are we living in right now? Who is the first Manu? Swayambhuva Manu, correct. So 8th canto starts with the theme of Manmantar, and what is the first pastime that is explained in the 8th canto? Gajendra, the pastime of Gajendra. Who was Gajendra in his previous lifetime? Maharaj Indradumna. And in which Manmantar did this pastime take place? 4th Manmantar. What is the name of the Manmantar? Cākṣuṣa Manmantar, yes. And then we went to the second pastime in the 8th canto, which is the Samudra Manthan. Which Manmantar did the Samudra Manthan take place? 6th Manmantar. From there we proceeded to the pastime of Bali Maharaj and Narsinghadev. Bali Maharaj and Vamandev. And finally, what is the last pastime that wraps up the 8th canto? Matsya Avatar. How many Matsya Avatars are there? 2 Matsya Avatar. When was the first Matsya Avatar appearance? First Manmantar, Swayambhuva Manu. And when was the second? 6th Manmantar, which means the previous Manmantar. From there we went to the 9th canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. 9th canto split into
Two parts.
two parts. First,
Surya Vamsh.
ये अच्छे से याद है last time. ये अच्छे से याद है ठीक good. It's classified into two types: Surya Vamsha and Chandra Vamsha. The dynasty of the sun and dynasty of the moon. In the dynasty of the sun, we discussed many personalities, but who is that crest jewel personality from the sun dynasty? Shri Ramchandra Bhagavan ki Jai. So there we finished our discussion. The moon dynasty is still remaining Chandra Vamsha. In the interest of time, I will directly start the 10th canto because Chandra Vamsha only little is remaining, which we will discuss later. But the most important personality from the Chandra Vamsha is Sri Krishna. So we would, with whatever time we have, we will try to discuss about the start of the 10th canto. So after waiting for 60 days, we are finally attempting to start the 10th canto. Shri 10th canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Jai! It feels happy that after like speaking for such a long period, extended period, finally we have reached the 10th canto. I have no idea and I'm pretty sure I will not do justice to it because there is no realization in the heart. But whatever I have heard from Srila Prabhupada and from my superiors, I will just try to present that discussion. So we see the second canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Shukadeva Goswami gives 10 topics of discussion. Please repeat. Atra sarga visargascha Sthanam poshanam utaya Manmantara Ishanukatha Nirodha Muktim Ashraya. So till canto 9 we discussed about Manmantara Ishanukatha. Canto 9 was Ishanukatha, which means canto 10 is Nirodha. It means Nirodha. Nirodha means to uproot, which means the fruit or the falashruti of hearing this canto is the lust, anger, greed, pride, envy. These 6 holes or 6 anarthas that are there. By hearing the pastimes of Sri Krishna and Brajadham, all these anarthas are completely uprooted. In fact, I was hearing few days back, His Grace Sripad Ayendra Prabhu made such a powerful statement. I had to go back and then hear and again go back and hear just to make sure I understood it the right way. And Ayendra Prabhu was saying that all the 9 cantos can be considered Shrama Eva Hi Kevalam if it doesn't bring about an appreciation for Sri Krishna's pastimes in the land of Vrindavan. Which means all 9 cantos are completely futile if it is not bringing appreciation in your heart for Krishna's pastimes in the land of Brajadham. Which means that is the essence. The pastimes of Sri Krishna in Braja, whether it is his Balya pastimes or whether it is Pauganda, 0 to 5 are Balya pastimes. 6 to 10 are Pauganda. So only yesterday or day before yesterday was Gopashtami. Day before yesterday.
I think Thursday.
Yesterday?
Yesterday. No, Thursday.
Today Saturday. Yes. So Thursday, the day of Gopashtami is when Krishna enters the age of Pauganda. Krishna enters the age of 6. Because when he turned 6, that's when he went to Maya Yashoda and said, I am now a big boy. All this while I took care of the cows and calves. Now I want to take care of the big cows. So it's very interesting that our Acharya's comment that when Krishna was in the land of Braja, Krishna was growing 1.5 times his age. When the children were 6, the power that they had at 6, Krishna had the same power at about 2.5 or 3. He was growing 1.5 times his age. So that is why with so much confidence, he went to Maya Yashoda and said, I am a big boy. I can now take care of the cows. In fact, when Krishna was 3.5, he went to Maya Yashoda. Maya Yashoda said, we know how big boy you are. Go and play. So that time she gave the calf. But now Krishna was very adamant. So we see children are also very, once they want it. So where is that parampara coming from? The Lord whom we worship is also very adamant. If he wants it, he wants it. I am not giving any inspiration. Please do not take inspiration. I don't want the parents to come back to me and say that, Prabhuji, you said Krishna is doing, our child is also asking. That is not the aim. But the point I am trying to make is the Lord is also adamant. So we celebrated the day of Gopashtami. So 0 to 5 is Balya pastimes. 6 to 10 is Pauganda. 6 to 10 is Pauganda. 11 to 16 is Kaishora. What is 11 to 16? Kaishora. What is 6 to 10? Pauganda. 6 to 10 is Pauganda. 11 to 16 is Kaishora. And after 16, Krishna is Navayovan. Adhyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam. Krishna is Navayovan. At the time of battlefield of Kurukshetra, we have the Bhagavad Gita. We have all seen the front cover of the Bhagavad Gita. What is Krishna doing in that? Driving the chariot. Sarthi is driving the chariot. Krishna is 96 years old at the time of battlefield. Krishna is 96 years. Does he look 96?
No.
How much does he look?
16.
16. Krishna looks 16. How many 16-year-olds? You are not 16. No way Suniti is 16. Like both the sisters cannot be of the same age, right?
Unless they are twins.
Unless they are twins, but they are definitely not twins. They are like farak hai dono mein. Anyway, so Krishna at the time of battlefield of Kurukshetra was 96 but looks like 16. This is Bhagavan. Nowadays people, anti-aging, facelift, fair and lovely, hi handsome. They do all these wrinkles and still they look pathetic. Still they look pathetic. But Krishna at the age of 96 without anything, without any makeup, without any whatever cream or what, I don't know. The girls would know probably more. But anyway, without any of those things, Krishna looks very young. This is Bhagavan. So these are the three faces. So very beautiful point that the first 9 cantos can be considered Shrama Eva Kevalam if it doesn't bring about an appreciation for the 10th canto. All the 9 cantos, maybe the kids can settle down in the back. Yeah. All the 9 cantos of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam have only one aim. Shukadeva Goswami on the banks of Ganga speaks the 9 cantos of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam with only one aim. What is that aim? That aim is to augment Braj Bhakti in our heart. Is to bring about, it's to stimulate Braja Bhakti in our heart. This is the only purpose of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Tat Dhama Vrindavanam. Our worshipable land is land of Vrindavan. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Shukadeva Goswami is speaking to bring about an appreciation for that land of Braja. We are Gaudiyas only when we have appreciation for the land of Braja. When I say Braja, it means Braja, Mayapur, Jagannath Puri, etc. These pastime places, because all three are one and the same. So when I say Braj, it means all these 3 places. The aim of all these 9 cantos is to bring about an appreciation for that 10th canto. And that 10th canto we are trying to discuss today. So it's a very historic section from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Shukadeva Goswami could have directly started 10th canto. If that is the essence, he could have directly started. There was time crunch also. Why Shukadeva Goswami speaking everything? Why to speak about planets? What will Parikshit Maharaj do at the time of departure by knowing planets? Kya karega? He is leaving this world. How Ganga descended? What is he going to do by knowing how Ganga descended? If Krishna and Vrindavan is the theme, why not cut to the chase? But Shukadeva Goswami is such a beautiful speaker. He first, in the 9 cantos, he drills upon the point of Krishna's Aishwaryamai Leela, his opulence. Because till the time Krishna's opulence, Krishna's godly abilities is not understood, we may misunderstand Krishna. Krishna eats dirt, that is okay. I eat dirt, that's a problem. Krishna lies, that is okay. I lie, that's a problem. Krishna steals, that is okay. I go to Sridhar Gopal Prabhu's house and steal, that's a problem. That doesn't mean I'm going to come to your house and steal. But
Biryani. He can steal the biryani.
Jackfruit biryani. But there can be a perception that if Krishna does it, that is okay. I do, that's a problem. For this reason, Shukadeva Goswami first 9 cantos hammers upon the point of Krishna's opulence. And precisely this is the same theme Satyavrata Muni has. Namam Ishwaram Sachit Anandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Viyoluka Ladhavanam Paramrita Matyanta Namam Ishwaram Sachit Anandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Viyoluka Ladhavanam Paramrita Matyanta How does Satyavrata Muni start? Namam Ishwaram. He starts with speaking about the godly opulence. Then he speaks Rudantam Muhur Netra Idam Te Mukhamojam etc. But first, Namam Ishwaram, speaking about the godly opulence. So he's following the same theme that Shukadev Goswami has. And we find Shukadev Goswami is such a beautiful speaker. He makes this point clear. He tells all the readers and listeners that Krishna is a personality who brooks no competitor. Krishna brooks no competitor. Can we please repeat that? Krishna brooks no competitor. Which means Krishna has a name called as Asama Urdhva. There is no one equal to Krishna, leave alone being superior to Krishna. There is no one equal, leave alone being greater than Krishna. There is no one like that. So Krishna, who is the essence or who is the crest jewel personality, not just of the Chandravamsha, but also the 10th canto. And not just of the 10th canto, but he is the crest jewel personality of the Gaudiyas. And not just of the Gaudiyas, he is the crest jewel personality of our lives also. And for lifetimes together, not just in this world, but even in that world, Krishna is the center of attraction. And to build about that center of attraction, to build about appreciation for that Krishna in Vrindavan, who is also called as Brajendra Nandan Krishna, Shukadev Goswami starts speaking the historic 10th canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Let us kindly forget that we are sitting in Seattle or we are sitting in Highland. After many, many lifetimes, we have got this opportunity to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. To be frivolous, to laugh around is okay. But this is that canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam that needs all our attention. It demands respect. So we have to give all due respects to this canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Because if we miss this canto, whatever we heard is Shrama Eva Hi Kevalam. Because the aim of Bhagavatam is this one canto. And it's very interesting that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Śrīpad Sanatana Goswami, he says we could have this question, why should I study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? What will I get by studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? See, that's the fundamental question. Whatever we buy, whatever we do, our first question is, मुझे क्या मिलेगा? ये करने से मुझे क्या मिलेगा? Why should I do it? SAT. Why should I write SAT? Or any other exam or whatever for that matter. Why should I do it? We first understand the reason, then implement that. Shukadev Goswami knows it. So, through Sanatana Goswami, this point is being made. Why should we hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? And Śrīpad Sanatana Goswami very beautifully in his book called as Krishna Leela Stava quotes a verse. Please repeat. He says, Asadhu sadhuta dayin Ati nicha ucchataraka Hana muncha kadachinmam Premna ritkantayospuraha. Who was the composer? Śrīpad Sanatana Goswami. Śrīpad Sanatana Goswami at the age of 97 would do Giriraj Parikrama. Not in AC car. Not in AC car the way we do. He would walk at the age of 97. How many have done Giriraj by walk? Like walking? How easy or how difficult it is? Difficult, right?
Yes.
Difficult? At the age of 97, you can imagine. How difficult it would be. Shripad Sanatan Goswami at the age of 97 would effortlessly walk. But he had a problem. Now look at Sanatan Goswami's problem. Sanatan Goswami's problem is, he is praying to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. He is saying, oh Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, I am 97 years old. I am old. I can't carry you in my hand. There was no Veda base. That time there is no Veda base. So he's saying, I can't carry you in my hand because I'm 97 years old. So, oh Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, I am praying to you. What is he praying? Asadhu sadhuta dain. Oh Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, you give sadhuta to someone who is asadhu. Someone who is asadhu, by studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, they become sadhu. Asadhu sadhuta dain and ati nicha ucha taraka. Those who are nicha, very abominable, they become very high class by studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. What's the first quality? Asadhu sadhuta dain, which means sadhus become asadhu. Asadhu becomes sadhu. What is the second quality of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Low class becomes high class. Wonderful, Shanmukh. Low class becomes high class. Hana muncha kadachin mam premna rit kanthayos pura. Sanatan Goswami says, hey Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, I can't carry you in my hand because I can't carry you in my hand because I'm very old. Oh Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, I am praying to you. He's saying, I pray to you, O Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, only if all the verses come on my tongue. So wherever I go, I can pull up the verses and I can chant. He's genuinely praying and crying to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, oh Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, I can't carry you in my hands. But if in the form of verses, if you come on my kantha, premna rit kanthayos puraha. Whenever I want, wherever I'm walking, I can pull up the verses and I can chant, oh Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, please fulfill this desire. Beautiful, nice verse. We can chant this verse for Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Oh Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, I am also having difficulties in chanting verses. But oh Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, I pray to you. Just like for Shripad Sanatan Goswami, you benedicted by coming on his kantha so that he could pull up the verses. I also pray to you. Whenever I want, please come on my kantha so that I can pull up the verses and beautifully relish. So Shripad Sanatan Goswami very beautifully gives reasons as to why we should study this holy scripture called as Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Very interesting. In this world we find when there are trees, trees of this world give fruit of one type. If there is a mango seed, it gives a mango fruit. Apple seed gives a chiku fruit. Apple fruit. Have you ever seen an apple tree give mango fruit?
Yes.
And have you seen vice versa?
No.
But in spirituality, it works vice versa also. There is a tree called as a tree of Vedic wisdom, where fruits of three types are found. Fruits of how many types?
Three types.
Fruits of three types are formed in one tree. The fruits of bhukti, please repeat, fruits of bhukti, fruits of mukti, and fruits of bhakti. Three fruits are formed in the same tree. Fruits of bhukti, meaning fruits of material desires, are completely fulfilled. If someone goes to the Vedic scriptures, dhanam dehi, vittam dehi, we say, in the morning we say, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. In the heart it is more dhanam, more janam. We want more followers, we want more money. But nonetheless, hopefully by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, one day we will mean what we are chanting. But Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is such a scripture, or this Vedic tree, the Vedic wisdom is such a place where the fruits of bhukti are given, which means material desires are completely fulfilled. The fruits of mukti are also given, which means mukti means liberation. If someone wants liberation, liberation is also completely guaranteed. But if you voluntarily go to the tree and ask the tree that, oh tree, please don't give me that I want, but give me that is the best in your tree. Whatever best you have, give me that. when this question is asked, a fruit by the name Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam falls to the ground. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is that fruit which the Vedic scriptures consider as the crest jewel or the essence of all the scriptures. In this tree, we see the king of fruits is mango. Similarly, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is compared to that mango-like scripture. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is compared to that mango-like scripture. And in this tree, down below on the ground, there are some ants that are crawling. Are we all there in the discussion, by the way?
Yes.
We're all there. What are we discussing?
10th canto.
In 10th canto? Not started. Because there is some distraction constantly, so I'm not really sure whether we are there in the conversation or not. So there is this tree of Vedic wisdom. And in this tree, there are some ants that are crawling on the ground. And there's a mango tree on the top. Can the ants on their own ability climb up the tree and taste the mango and taste the nectar of that mango? No. Impossible. Very difficult. But what to do? There is one very merciful bird called as the parrot. There is a very merciful bird called as the parrot. Now this parrot, it comes, sits on the branch and puts its beak inside the fruit, that is the mango. Now when the parrot puts its beak inside the fruit, that is the mango, three things happen. First, the mango is being tasted by the parrot, or in other words, the parrot is tasting the mango. Second, when the parrot is tasting this mango, the saliva of the parrot gets mixed with the mango, right? Now in science, keeping Shastra to the side, in science, it is believed that when a parrot tastes a fruit and when the saliva of the parrot mixes with the fruit, the taste of the fruit increases. This is science, this is not bhakti. So now three things are happening. The parrot is putting its beak inside the fruit. The saliva of the parrot is mixing with the fruit, which means the mango that is already sweet is becoming more sweet. And finally, when the beak is put inside and the parrot has already tasted that juice of the mango, few drops of the mango fall to the ground and now the ants that are there can now have it. Right?
Yes.
What does this mean? It's not a prasadam example. It's not a prasadam example. The moment I said mango, the eyes lit up. It's not a prasadam example, but we are just trying to draw parallels. What does this pastime actually mean? What is the mango? Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Sharan Prabhu is like really attentive. Really attentive. This is the best place in the house. As I always say, when I sit here, I exactly know who is there in the katha and who is not there. Whose eyes are open but not attentive and whose eyes are open and attentive. It's very evident. I may not vocalize it, but it's very evident who is there in the conversation. So, thank you so much, Prabhu. So the mango fruit represents Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Who are those ants? We are those ants. We are those ants. Can we on our own accord go and taste the sweetness of the Bhagavatam? No. But what to do? There is one very merciful parrot by the name Śrīla Śrīmad Goswami Pad Ki Jai. बीच में करना पड़ता है, नींद खुलता है ऐसा. Śrīmad Goswami, who is the parrot, he comes. He puts his beak inside Bhagavatam, which means he relishes the Bhagavatam or he understands the Bhagavatam. Now what happens second? The parrot, when he is putting his beak inside, the saliva of the parrot mixes with the fruit and the taste increases, which means when the emotions of Śrīmad Goswami mix with the verses of Bhagavatam, the Bhagavatam which is already sweet becomes more sweet. This is Rasamalayam. This is Rasamalayam. When we say Nigama Kalpatarur Galitam Phalam Shukamukhad Amrita Drava Samvetam Pibata Bhagavata Rasa Alayam. Alayam means to faint. Rasa means nectar. So question is asked, how much should we hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Rasam Alayam. Hear Bhagavatam till the time you faint. Hear so much Bhagavatam that you faint only to get up. Hear Bhagavatam, again faint, again get up, again faint. That is the amount of Bhagavatam that should be heard. Rasam Alayam. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Hearing Bhagavatam constantly. Actually, Nityam means 24 hours. But Kali Yuga interpretation of Nityam is once a day. Agar pura din nahi hua, at least once a day. Once a day nahi hua, at least 15 minutes. That's the Kali Yuga interpretation. But according to Śrīmad Goswami, Nityam means 24 hours without stop. And that is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would hear in Gambhira from Gadadhar Pandit. Constantly crying and crying and crying and crying and hearing. So to reiterate, who is the parrot? Śrīmad Goswami. What is the mango? Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And now what is Śrīmad Goswami doing? He's putting his beak, not in the real sense, which means he's tasting the fruit. Second, his saliva is being mixed as the parrot, which means his bhav, his emotions, which are like the waves, they come and splash with the verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which means Bhagavatam becomes more sweeter. And what is the third? The drops of mango juice fall to the ground and ants can have it. Which means when Śrīmad Goswami tastes the fruit, the taste of the Bhagavatam increases, few notches higher, and finally this taste comes down. What is this taste coming down? It comes down in the parampara. It comes down, this taste of Bhagavatam comes down in the parampara, and ants like us who had no hope to taste Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam can now hope to taste Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. By the way, we have not started 10th canto. This is introduction. This is introduction. This is just introduction. We have not started. We are already 30 minutes into the class. This is just introduction. Following the parampara.
Yes.
You understood what I'm saying. So it comes down in the line and then ants like us can have it. So this question is asked that by studying Bhagavatam, what happens in our life? What happens in our life? And Śrīmad Goswami in fact very beautifully he says, Punya Shravana Kirtana Vidhunoti Sursatam. Vidhunoti. Dhunoti. In Hindi, dhona means wash. Wash. Vidhunoti. V is a prefix. Like for example.
Vishishta.
Huh?
Vishishta.
Vishesha Rupana. Correct. Vishishta. Yes. Wonderful. So, dhunoti means to clean. Vidhunoti, to clean vigorously. So, Bhagavatam hearing what happens, not just cleaning happens, vigorous cleaning happens in our heart. Salilasya yathasharad. Dhunoti shamalam Krishna. Salilasya yathasharad. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that is like Krishna. When it enters the heart, vigorous cleaning happens. This body is like the house. You see, if this is the house, how do we enter the house? Through the door, correct? Similarly, if this body is the house, our ears are the door. Our ears are the door, the body is the house. To enter into this body or to enter into this house, the pathway is through the ears. Through the ears, it goes to the heart. You see, even in the word heart in English, what's the spelling? H-E-A-R-T. But beech mein what is there? E-A-R. Which means the pathway to your heart is through your E-A-R, through your ear. Krishna, Shama Sundar Shri Krishna enters your heart through your ear. And when he enters, vigorous cleaning happens. This is dhunoti, vidhunoti. What does he clean? Shamalam. Malam means dirt. Shamalam, 6 kinds of dirt. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mad, Matsarya. These 6 kinds of anarthas or vices that are there, Sri Krishna in the form of Harikatha comes and cleans it up. And when that dirt is cleaned, that's when we become suitable to even understand Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. This is not a normal scripture, dear devotees. This is not some Harry Potter novel discussion that we are doing. We have not come here to give some critics on Harry Potter. This is a very important scripture, if understood properly, can reawaken that lost relationship with Neelamada. This is a very important scripture. After many lifetimes, we have got this opportunity to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Bahu janma kori yodi shravana kirtan tabuta na pae Shri Krishna pada premadhan. Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says, Bahu janma kori yodi shravana kirtan. One may chant and hear for lifetimes together. Bahu janma. But does that mean Krishna will come in your heart? Kaviraj Goswami says no. Krishna is Swarat. Bahu janma kori yadi shravana kirtan tabuta na pae Shri Krishna pada premadhan. After hearing and chanting for lifetimes together, still there is no guarantee that Krishna will come in the heart. So that means how much serious we have to be when Bhagavatam is going on. This is not the time where we doze off. We have all the time in our life. We have all the 24 hours to doze off. But in Harikatha, our Shastras very beautifully say that if the eyes close during Harikatha, it is a symbolic representation that the past life anarthas are acting as barriers and not allowing you to hear Harikatha. Wow. This is Shastra. I am not making it up. So the next time you feel sleepy, it is the past life anarthas that are not allowing you to progress because they want you to stay here. They want you to be in this world. But Bhagavatam kicks out everything. Let us not sleep. I always, in all the classes, I make this point. If you are feeling sleepy, please stand up. Please stand up and go behind. Wash your face, but don't sleep. After many lifetimes, we have got this opportunity. This is not the place to be frivolous. This is not the place to sleep. We have all the time to sleep, but not during a Bhagavatam class. I know I am a boring speaker. Please bear with me. 10th canto is something that needs our attention. There will be less. In all our 9 cantos, we cracked a lot of jokes. 10th canto, time to be a little serious. So the amount of, I am just giving a heads up, the amount of jokes are going to reduce. The amount of seriousness is going to increase because now Krishna wants our seriousness. 10th canto is like boiling that milk. Now is the time 10th canto will boil our bhakti in our heart. So it demands some seriousness. So, finally, after speaking 35 minutes on the glories of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we now attempt. It's a big attempt in asterisks. We now attempt to start the 10th canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The 10th canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it starts with Mother Earth taking the form of a cow. Mother Earth takes the form of a cow. And Mother Earth is completely distressed. So many kings are there who are not following anything. Adharma is being prevalent. So Mother Earth takes the form of a cow and goes to Brahmaji and says, Rakshasvamam, please protect, do something. There is so much adharma. Now, if we were attentive in the previous class, there should be a natural question that arises. In the previous class, what did we say? Whom did Kakudvi Maharaj go to with Revati?
Brahmaji.
Went to Brahmaji. When did they go to Brahmaji? Satya Yuga. But what was Brahmaji doing? He was hearing. Hearing to whom? Ha ha and hoo hoo. He was hearing to ha ha and hoo hoo. And after the hearing is done, after that musical concert is done, what does Brahmaji say? Time has passed. And half of Dwapar is done because Krishna and Balram are already grown up. They are in Dwaraka. So now you should have a question. If Brahmaji was busy hearing to ha ha and hoo hoo, how did Mother Earth find time to go and beseech Brahmaji? He was busy hearing, right? He was busy hearing to ha ha and hoo hoo. Half of Dwapar Yuga had passed. So where did Brahma get time in the start of Dwapar Yuga to attend to Mother Earth? Valid question? Yeah. Did we have this question earlier? No. Vishwanath Chakravarti asked this question. He starts off his commentary Sarartha Darshini with this question. He says, wait a minute. 9th canto, you heard Kakudmi Maharaj. Brahmaji there, he says that, oh, I was hearing to ha and who and half of Dwapar has passed. Half of Dwapar has passed, which means Krishna has appeared and Krishna is in Dwaraka already. If Krishna is already in Dwaraka and Krishna is already grown up, how is it that Mother Earth gets time to go to Brahma and besiege him for the Lord's appearance? Confusion. And how do we reconcile this? So Vishwanath Chakravarti is asking the question. Vishwanath Chakravarti only answers the question. Vishwanath Chakravarti here brings the concept of two Brahmajis. He brings the concept of two Brahmas. Not getting into the details, but when Kakudmi Maharaj, who is the daughter of Kakudmi Maharaj? Revati. Kakudmi Maharaj and Revati, when they go to Brahma, they go to Brahma of Satyaloka, which is still in the material shell. But now, when Mother Earth takes the form of the cow, she doesn't go, Mother Earth doesn't go to Brahma of Satyaloka, but she goes to another Brahma who is there sitting on the top of Mount Sumeru. Which is the mountain? Mount Sumeru. Where was Kakudmi Maharaj Brahma sitting? Satyaloka. Where is this another Brahma sitting? Mount Sumeru. So that is how two Brahmas are present. So that is how we understand Vishwanath Chakravarti reconciles, not getting into the details of the two Brahmas, but as an FYI, we understand. If someone comes up to us and says, how is Bhagavatam having two differences of opinion in back-to-back cantos? Well, both the Brahmas are different. The Brahma whom Kakudmi Maharaj goes is the Brahma of Satyaloka. But the Brahma whom Mother Earth goes is the Brahma of Mount Sumeru. So Mother Earth goes in the form of cow and she besieges Brahmaji and says that so many kings are there and they're so irreligious. So why don't you do something? And Brahmaji, he decides, along with all the demigods, they decide to go to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. And when the Supreme Lord hears this, he gives a guarantee. He says, don't worry, when the time will come, I will advent in this world. And after Krishna gave this promise, Krishna decided to come down. And Krishna very well knows for the fact that we are those kinds of people who love power. We love, wherever power display is there, we love. See, people give hundreds of dollars to go to multiplexes to see power so that they can see their hero fighting. Krishna knows that. Krishna knows we like power. And Krishna displays his form of power by lifting Giriraj. He says, wait a minute, you like power. I will show you my power. You like suspense, you like drama, action, thriller. I will show you. Shamantakmani. So Krishna displays multiple pastimes. He says, by hearing one of them, please get attracted, but come back to me. The thing that you are looking out for in the television shows, in the movies, Krishna is showing the same thing in a much purified fashion and in a much powerful fashion in his pastimes. He says, please hear to any one of these pastimes, get attracted and come back to me. But this is external. Iha by here. This is external. Krishna doesn't come down for this. Because to attract, the Lord can take any other form and attract the jivas. To attract the jivas back home, back to Godhead, this is still an external reason. The Lord has an internal reason also. The reason for which He comes down, for His own. Not a selfish reason. Selfish is a wrong word to use. But for His personal desire. An internal reason for which the Supreme Lord comes down. Prema rasa niryas korite aswadan Rag marg bhakti loke korite pracharan Rasika shekhara Krishna parama karuna Ei doi hetu hoite ichhara udgama. Two desires manifested in the heart of Krishna. The fundamental desire was Prema rasa niryas korite aswadan. Swad means taste. Aswadan means to taste. Prema rasa niryas korite aswadan. The desire that came in the heart of Krishna is he wanted to taste the love of the Brajavasis. To come and attract the jivas of this world, this is still external. Iha bahiya aage ka hoar. This is still external. But the internal reason why the Lord comes down is to taste the love of the Brajavasis. And now when such a Lord decides to advent, we have some interesting personalities here whom we have to introduce in our discussion. It starts off with a personality called as Kamsa. What is his name? Kamsa. He needs no introduction. Little Krishna or any of those shows, we all would have seen Kamsa. Kamsa is driving the chariot. In his chariot is his sister. What is the name of the sister? Devaki. Kamsa is driving the chariot. His sister Devaki is there in that chariot. And Devaki has just got married to Vasudeva Maharaj. So we have Kamsa. Kamsa's sister is Devaki. And Devaki's husband is? Who is the wife? Who is the husband? 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 Wife? Devaki. Correct. To come up with different things to keep people awake. So they are in the chariot. And cutting a long story short, we know as to how when he is driving the chariot, there is an aerial voice. The 8th son of Devaki is going to be the cause of your death. The 8th son of your sister is going to be the cause of your death. Now naturally what does Kamsa Maharaj do? Grabs the hair of Devaki, picks up his sword and fit of rage is about to kill her. Before we see what happens here, who is Kamsa Maharaj? And what is the history of Kamsa Maharaj? How is it that Kamsa Maharaj is so cruel? There is a personality by the name Ugrasen Maharaj. Ugrasen Maharaj has a wife called as Padmavati. What is the name? Padmavati. Who is the husband? Who is the sister of Kamsa?
Devaki.
Devaki's husband? And Ugrasen Maharaj's wife? Padmavati's husband? ठीक है अपना हस्बैंड वाइफ का नाम मत बोलो. So Padmavati, Ugrasen Maharaj's wife is Padmavati. Now it's very interesting that once it so happened that Padmavati's father called Padmavati home. Said, please come and stay with me for some days. And Padmavati's father would live in Vidarbha, which is the present day Maharashtra, where even Rukmini came from. So he said, why don't you come here and stay with me for some days? Maika, please come to Maika, the girl's house, please come. So she said okay. She took permission of Ugrasen Maharaj and then she went. Now when she was living there with her parents, at that time one day Ugrasen Maharaj came there to meet Padmavati. So Padmavati was very happy. She was thinking to herself that, oh, my husband is so caring. He has come all the way to meet me. He's such a nice husband. I don't know why the Matajis are already smiling, but that is how it works. Padmavati thought that Ugrasen Maharaj is very nice and very caring. So she became very happy and then she went close to Ugrasen Maharaj. And she was about to embrace. And eventually by the will of Providence, they united. Now when they united, she understood that, wait a minute, this guy is not Ugrasen Maharaj. He's coming in the disguise. He's a demon. He is not Ugrasen Maharaj. He's coming to trick me. And it was indeed a demon. A demon by the name Drumila. What's the name? Drumila. Drumila in the form of Ugrasen Maharaj came to meet Padmavati when the actual Ugrasen Maharaj was in Mathura. Right? We are there in the story. When she gets to know, she becomes so angry. But eventually, by the will of Providence, she was already pregnant. That child was Kamsa Maharaj. So now who is the father? Drumila. Is Drumila a good person?
No.
He's a demon. So naturally, because the father of Kamsa Maharaj is a demon, like father, like son. The fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. Mother was good, but the father is Drumila, who is a demon. So technically, Kamsa Maharaj is not the son of Ugrasen Maharaj. He is technically not the son of Ugrasen Maharaj, but he is the son of Drumila. So Kamsa Maharaj has this history of being evil. Now interestingly, who is Kamsa Maharaj previously? Again, now this is in this life. Now Kamsa Maharaj has some history in the previous lifetime also. Kamsa Maharaj, in his previous lifetime, is a personality by the name Kalanemi. What's the name? Kalanemi. Who is Kalanemi? Kamsa Maharaj. Who is Kamsa Maharaj? The brother of? And Devaki's husband is? And Devaki and Vasudeva are there in the chariot of? Kamsa. So they are there in the chariot. So Kamsa Maharaj has some prehistory, past life. Who is Kamsa Maharaj in his past life? Kalanemi. He is there as Kalanemi. Now Kalanemi, yes Prabhu, you had something?
Is the same demon the one Krishna kills?
एक ही Kalanemi, हाँ.
But
the Rishi who sleeps, right? Maharaj, in lifetime he sleeps, many years he sleeps, right? Then he will Muchukunda.
That is Muchukunda Maharaj. That is who's there in the cave.
Who kills that? He says name, Kal name only, right? That demon's name?
Kaliyavan.
Kaliyavan. Oh, sorry.
Kalayavan. For a second I was also confused. अरे गलत बोल दिया क्या? Kalayavan. Examples भी है मुचुकुंद महाराज का जो सो रहे हैं. वाह. Third example. Shukadev Goswami's mother, Parvati, Muchukund Maharaj. सब सोने वाले. We should keep such personalities in our altar. यदि मुचुकुंद महाराज ना होई तो तबे की होई तो. If he would have not slept, how will I? So that was Kalayavan. So Kamsa Maharaj, in his previous life, is Kalanemi. Now Kalanemi had 6 children. They were also called as Shatgarbha. What is the name? Shatgarbha. Shatgarbha are the children of Kalanemi. Who's Kalanemi? Kamsa Maharaj, correct. He had 6 children. Now these 6 children, eventually, they abandoned the association of Hiranyakashipu. Amongst, the 6 children of Kalanemi abandoned the association of Hiranyakashipu. Now Hiranyakashipu, amongst the demons, he is an Acharya. Amongst the demons, he is a Mahabhagavat, the best among demons. Demons may be classification, even in their sampradaya they have Acharyas. So Hiranyakashipu is like the Acharya of the demon sampradaya. So these 6 children of Kalanemi, called as Shatgarbha, they give up the association of Hiranyakashipu and they start doing tapasya. They start doing penance to please whom? Brahmaji. They do tapasya to please Brahmaji and Brahmaji comes down. This is what happened. And they say, we want benediction. They were, at the end of the day, they were with Hiranyakashipu. So the same pravritti will be seen in the 6 children also. So they said to Brahmaji that we want some benedictions. What are the benedictions? We want the benedictions that demigod cannot kill us. Kinnaras cannot kill us. Apsaras cannot kill us. Animals cannot kill us. Does it ring bells? Who is another personality who asked for these same? So these 6 children associated with Hiranyakashipu earlier, that's when same pravritti, they started asking the same boons. Now Brahmaji is such a personality. He doesn't think. He has 4 heads. Brahma is a quad-core processor. He has 4 heads. He doesn't think. When these Shatgarbha, they ask for boons, immediately takes his kamandalu, tathastu. Granted. Now when Hiranyakashipu gets to know that these are the boons that were asked by Shatgarbha, he gets very angry. He gets so angry that he curses them. He says, you have the audacity to go to Brahmaji and leave me? In my presence, you are going to Brahmaji? I curse you. You took so many boons, but I curse you that your own father Kalanemi will again appear as Kamsa and kill you. All the 6 children of Kalanemi, they end up again appearing as the children of Devaki Maya, and that same Kalanemi appears as Kamsa and kills all of them. So that's the back history. That's the history. So, I could see some open mouths. Yes, that's how it goes. So, coming back to our story, we were there in the chariot of Kamsa Maharaj. Who is driving the chariot? Kamsa. Who are there? Who are the passengers? And what is the relation between Devaki and Vasudeva? Brother sister. Bol diya, brother sister bol diya. Husband wife, correct. Husband and wife. And who is Kamsa in his previous life? Kalanemi. What are the 6 children called? Shatgarbha, correct.
What are their names?
I don't remember. I will go home and do.
Question for you.
She's waking you up now.
Oh, Mata is waking me up. So, we are there in the chariot. And after this aerial voice comes, immediately Vasudeva Maharaj takes his sword. Vasudeva Maharaj takes his sword. Kamsa Maharaj takes his sword. We are attentive. Kamsa Maharaj takes his sword. time is such, neend aane wala hai. So he takes the sword and is about to kill, but Vasudeva Maharaj gives a promise. He says, I promise. Every child that we have, we will come and give that child to you. She is your sister. Please don't do this. Which brother will have the audacity or will have the courage to kill the sister? And in fact, no one will have any courage to kill anyone, leave alone brother and sister or brother and brother. But Kamsa was a little special. So, finally, no taking inspiration. So, Vasudeva Maharaj, he guaranteed this. And he said, every child that I have, I will come and give this to you. But Vasudeva Maharaj, his word, his promise had a lot of weight. Kamsa Maharaj knew this. So he agreed. And he said, every child that you have, please come and give this to me. Now the child, first child appeared in this world. And when the first child appeared in this world, Vasudeva Maharaj, very faithfully, he went and he gave the child. He said, this is the child, please take it. Kamsa Maharaj was so pleased with Vasudeva Maharaj's sincerity that he said, no, keep the child. 8th child is going to kill, right? Ye the first child, keep it. Kamsa Maharaj did not kill. He said, keep it. But at that time, Narad Muni comes there. And you see, in India, Narad Muni is a personality who is considered someone who does chugli. He speaks from here to there. But that is not our Gaudiya Siddhanta. Narad Muni comes there. And when Narad Muni comes, he doesn't just come, he does kirtan and he comes. Narad Muni bhajane vina. वापस भूख लग रहा है नाराजों ने भाजा रे वीणा राधिका रावण नामे नाराजों ने ओ हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे comes there and he says, wait a minute, that first child was brought and you gave that first child. Comes and said, yeah, 8th child, na? Ariel voice said 8th child, the first child, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 time. Narad Muni, he comes with a lotus. Now this is not there in Bhagavatam. Narad Muni comes with a lotus. Lotus has petals, he gives the lotus and says, which is the 8th petal? Please count and tell me. So Kamsa Maharaj says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the 8th petal. Narad Muni says, "Theek hai." He flips it the other way. He said, now tell me the 8th petal. He says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another petal. He again flips it another way. Now tell me the 8th petal, and it's something else. Narad Muni said, did you understand something? Kamsa said, no. That was Kamsa's intelligence. He said, what are you talking about? Cut to the chase. Why are you beating around the bush? What are you trying to say? Narad Muni says, 8th child. But it was not mentioned that 8 will be in order. It's possible that the 8th child has appeared first and the first child is going to appear 8th. It can be any order. It said the 8th child, but when Supreme Lord decides to come down, it's possible that the 8th child who was planned can appear first. Anything can happen. He says, don't go with your math. When the Lord wants his math, no other math of this world works. He says, this first child has appeared. Vasudeva Maharaj has come. Gaur Premanand is singing. Send him back home. Uplift him. Do the job of uplifting. So Kamsa Maharaj understands. And then he brings the first child and smashes, smothers the first child in the wall and kills. So much so that Vasudeva Maharaj and Devaki are again tied to the prison. Because till now, Kamsa Maharaj thought, oh, they are so nice, they're coming and giving the first child, they're very nice. But when Narad Muni comes and says this, he understands, oh, they are very dangerous. I should tie them and keep them in the prison. So much so that he tied Ugrasen Maharaj also. He tied Ugrasen Maharaj and kept him in the prison, and Devaki and Vasudeva were also kept in the prison. First child was smothered and killed in the eyes of Devaki and Vasudeva, in the eyes of the parents. You can imagine how painful it can be. We have heard this pastime again and again, but this thing from the standpoint of a parent, to see your child being smothered to the wall and you have nothing to do. You have nothing to do. Devaki was weeping, not knowing what to do. Completely in tears, not knowing anything, because Kamsa Maharaj was that strong. We may have a question. Why did Narad Muni do that? It seems as apparently he has done some chugli. Why is Narad Muni doing it? Actually, Narad Muni is the Lord's associate. He on purpose is coming and saying this to Kamsa Maharaj to accelerate Krishna's appearance. Because if every child stays like this, the affection for the parent towards the child will increase, which means the appearance of every child is going to take considerable amount of time, which means by the time Krishna appears, it's going to take a very long time. And the Brajavasis and Mathuravasis are already facing the heat of Kamsa Maharaj. But now if the child is killed, 6 children are killed back to back, back to back, back to back, then that accelerates Krishna's appearance. Also, Narad Muni knew the curse that Hiranyakashipu had given to the Shatgarbhas. So he had to maneuver it in such a way that that is also fulfilled, at the same time Krishna's appearance can be accelerated. Finally, the first child is killed. In next 6 years, every child in succession is killed, one after another, after another, after another. And Devaki and Vasudeva cannot do anything about it. They are tied like animals in the prison. So much so that Shukadev Goswami, he says their legs were completely like shackled, iron shackled, that they could only move in a particular circumference. They could only move in sort of periphery. They could not move completely outside. Not even able to move. Tied like animals. And every child is just snatched and completely killed. What was Devaki's fault? Nothing. Nothing. 6 children were killed one after another. What is the teaching from here? Who are the 6 children? They are Shatgarbha. But what does the 6 children mean? It represents 6 anarthas. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mad, Matsarya. Showing to the world that when Krishna is going to appear in the heart, these 6 anarthas start vanishing one after another, after another. Externally it's seen as the 6 children, but these 6 children in our life are the 6 anarthas. Finally, after 6 children are killed, very interesting episode takes place. What happens later is the topic of discussion in our next class. Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Point, you're not dot. Is it on dot?
I'm always on time.